All right, we're off and running on the Krueger Show Tuesday nights in the warm East Bay, where it is maybe about 90 degrees. So if you see a little glisten off the forehead, this is what 90 degrees looks like. The studio that I have is actually probably more like 95. It's a balmy 95 as I watch the Dodgers and Diamondbacks play tonight from Dodger Stadium. And we welcome in the great Raj to the Krueger Show. Of course, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And they do run out. But check them out. Get the brisket chili. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use that promo code Krug, Krueg, and they'll match you up to your first $100. And we're also brought to you by Sharp Corners, sports cards, and collectibles. My good friend Anthony Catania there in Pacific Grove. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove along the Monterey Peninsula. And Anthony Catania is at 831-521-5264. A lot of, we're in the dead of summer. We're still 3-4 weeks away from training camp. Couple days away from the 4th of July. The great Raj from RSF 49ers in the house. Raj, how are you, man?
I'm hot, man. It is it's 85 degrees in San Jose right now, and it's 8:30 at night. So it's been hot all day. Like I was telling you, it was hot at my work, hot traveling everywhere. It's hot. But other than that, I'm good. I'm excited for football season. It's so close, yet it's so far away. I just hate this heat. It's brutal out there.
I know. Raphael 562 49ers says, "What's up, Larry? What's up, Raj? What's up, everyone?" And then Raphael 562 like and subscribe, everybody. Yeah, please do. If you hit like, that just helps the algorithm. More people will find the stream, and we'll boost our numbers a little bit. And then if you hit, if you want to subscribe, just hit subscribe and click that notification bell. And every single time I go live, you'll get a little notification that I'm going live, and you don't have to miss any of it. And we go live virtually every day. We won't be going live on the 4th of July, but I'll be going live 3 times tomorrow. Tomorrow morning at 8:45 with the great Damon Bruce. Tomorrow morning at 10:45 with the great Cyrus Satsas talking Warrior basketball. And then tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, Dieter Kurtenbach, who's normally with me on Thursday nights, he'll join me tomorrow night as we do the 4th of July. We're taking the 4th of July off. We decided we'll go big on the 3rd.
You deserve a day off, Larry. You deserve a day off.
Telling you, man. You got any big 4th of July plans, Raj? Are you a pyro? Do you light up fireworks, firecrackers? Yeah. What's your modus operandi on July 4th?
Well, California, you can't really do the fireworks because it's trees everywhere. You can't really do it, but
you can't. It's by county. So, I live in Contra Costa County, and if I try to light them off in Contra Costa County, I'm going to jail or whatever. Yeah. I'm getting a ticket. But my brother lives in Sacramento County, and if you live there's no such restrictions.
Yeah.
And if you live in not Alameda County, if you live in what is like the area by Dublin and like Milpitas, that's no longer Contra Costa. It's a different county. So you can buy fireworks in Dublin.
Yeah.
But you can't light them off in Contra Costa.
No, it's too risky. So I go to Great America, watch the fireworks, do all that stuff. But when I used to live in Vegas, I was a literal pyromaniac. I used to light them up, used to love them. I used to do the illegal fire. I was a fire junkie, firecracker junkie. But maybe it's good because I still have my fingers and I need them for my job. But I'll go to Great America and watch the fireworks, Larry.
That's probably a good idea. It's probably a good idea. My brother, I have to tell this story. My brother has a little bit of a kind of a rivalry going with his neighbor in Natomas. And a couple of years ago, his neighbor came out, and they both go get a big cachet of fireworks and light them off. Anyway, the neighbor got out there a little on the early side. He was out there before we were even out there. And he was going at a pace that was really fast. And I said to my brother, I said, man, he's really He's really going fast. He's lighting off all of his stuff fast. And sure enough, he got out there early. The guy lit his fireworks off early. It wasn't even fully sundown, and they were done. So they get a garbage can, and they put all their fireworks in the garbage can, and they put the garbage can in their garage, and they closed the garage door. But they didn't water in the garbage can. And he burned up both of his cars, caused himself over $100,000 of damage in his house. His house caught fire in the middle of the night because from inside of his garbage can, it was still smoldering, and he didn't submerge it in water. And so a massive fire started, and he cost himself thousands. I mean, he burned up both of his cars, destroyed the whole front of his house.
Oh my God.
Had to have all kinds of smoke, remediation done.
Larry, that's fireworks 101. You got to put them in water after you're done. That's like
you got to submerge them in water.
Yeah.
It's not just put them in a little bit of water. You got to submerge them in water, and then you got to put that can out on the curb until you absolutely are 100% confident. And you can't rush this process. You can't do it fast. So there you go. Don't do that. I mean, and needless to say, I mean, they're scarred by it. It's like the last few years, they haven't even been out there. It's like,
probably skip the 4th of July. They just want to be done with it.
They just want to skip it. Exactly. When something tells me when you destroy both your vehicles and cause your house $150,000 worth of smoke damage, it probably changes your attitude about the 4th of July from that point forward.
Yeah.
So there was that one. My brother also had a friend a few years ago, shows up, and we're lighting, fireworks off, but she shows up with like a mini hot air balloon. I mean, it was literally like a canvas bag, or I don't know what it was made of. It looked like canvas. And you know how a hot air balloon has fire going into the bag, right? You've seen a hot air balloon, right?
Yeah,
well, it was kind of like a hot air balloon, but except it was, 2 feet by 2 feet wide, And so she lights this fire on the stick, and then the thing, kind of slides up the stick and goes up into the air. So I'm like, God, this looks dangerous as hell, man. I go, you better be careful with that. And she's like, I got it. Okay. So now this fireball slides up the stick. It's still contained in the canvas bag. And now the thing goes up, and we're like, oh, look, there it goes. Except it's blowing directly towards a tree.
Oh my God.
And I mean, a very tall tree. And sure enough, these 3 trees were in a row like this, and they're really tall, skinny trees. And this fireball comes up like this on the side of the tree and kind of hits it. I'm like, oh my God. It hits the edge. And it looks like it's going to get caught in the tree. And then it kind of bounces a little bit and frees itself up and keeps going up.
Oh my God.
She came within 5 seconds of that fireball catching that tree on fire. There was 3 trees all right next to each other in a guy's yard. I mean, I could not believe it. I was like, oh my God, what the hell's wrong? So all I would say to people is go out there, enjoy yourself, light off fireworks if it's legal, but be very, very careful.
Yeah.
Very careful.
I have some good stories, but we'll talk about them another day because I'm sure these folks want to hear about Niner news. There's not a lot, but
there is not a lot, but there's one last one I got to give you, Raj. And this is not my story, but I was on the radio 10 years ago, and a guy had a party at his house. This is like in Indiana somewhere. I just read this online. Guy had a party in his house, got a bunch of fireworks. The cops come to the door because they were being kind of loud. They put the fireworks in the oven.
Oh my!
To hide them from the police.
Oh my God.
The police come. Obviously, they didn't find the fireworks because they didn't look in the oven. They forgot they were in the oven.
They turn it on.
The roommate comes home to have like a burrito at 2:00 in the morning, turns on the oven, and blows up the house. It's like it's like suburban Indianapolis or something like that. So there you go. Be careful, everybody. Be careful. All right, let's talk little Niners. We're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. We're brought to you by, as we said, Underdog Fantasy, and of course, Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. But we are here to talk little 49ers. And I titled it, Why the 49ers Are, quote, Not Close on a Deal for Brandon Aiyuk. This is a story that just saw earlier today. The 49ers, according to Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network, Garafolo appearing on the NFL Network's The Insiders spoke about Aiyuk's contract surrounding, the contract stalemate between the Niners and Aiyuk. Garafolo asked the question that many people have been asking, is Aiyuk going to be with the 49ers long-term, or is he going to be with the 49ers, or is he not going to be with the 49ers long-term? Is he going to get a long-term deal signed with them? Is he going to play on the fifth-year option? Anyway, he said for Aiyuk and the 49ers, they have had conversations recently, but they are no closer to a deal from my understanding, but they are also no closer to a trade request. That's never been something that he has explored in this case. Besides, he's got to get back to work before training camp to see if they can get something done. All right, well, the Niners could have him play on the fifth-year option. They could. That's one of the options. And if you believe this, I mean, we just saw in the Pivot podcast the other day that Aiyuk said, okay, there's going to be one more meeting and with the 49ers. And if it goes well, great. But if it doesn't go well, he didn't say he was going to demand a trade, but he's like, in that case, if it doesn't go well, I'd love to play with Jaden Daniels, who's his boy and is his guy for going back to college. I mean, those guys are buddies, going back to ASU. So that's kind of where it's at. Now, that was the report, but then there was a report a couple days later that Aiyuk came to town and met at his request with Lynch and Shanahan and the 49er brass, and that the meeting, quote, went well, that they aired some things that they needed to get off their chest. Both sides got some things off their chest, and that they didn't sign a deal, but it was a positive meeting. So then there was a sighting of Aiyuk driving, wearing a Pirates hat, down, DeBartolo way there trying to get into the players lot. Open the damn gate.
Open the gates, Larry.
Hey, open the damn gate. I think, did he say my gate?
He said it's a family show. Open the motherfucking gates. Open the motherfucking gates, Larry. So right then you're assuming, because he said there will be one more meeting, and there was one more meeting, and then the report out of that meeting was, hey, the meeting went well. So I assumed, like probably you and others, that was an incredibly positive thing that he was pulling into the facility. And I just figured, okay, within 24 to 48 hours, we're going to get Aiyuk, and the Niners have agreed to a contract. But now here we are. It's days later. There has been no agreement. And now you've got Garafolo, who's a solid reporter in his own right, NFL Network, saying they ain't any closer. So, Raj, as we get, closer and closer to camp, I get the feeling that we're closer to an agreement, but there's also the chance that this thing goes south. And the part of the podcast, the Pivot podcast, that was interesting to me, and there were several, and we can get into it, but one of the aspects of it that was really interesting to me, Raj, was when he said the Niners reached out to him and said, hey, we're not on the same page, and it doesn't look like we're going to get on the same page. So is that Parag playing super hardball, or is that the 49ers literally trying to get Aiyuk to move on, get Aiyuk to, I don't know, demand a trade, get Aiyuk to, come to the grips with the idea that he's playing at their price or he ain't playing. So what was your read on that when he said that the Niners, now he said his take on it was, it's just negotiations and it's tough negotiations. But if this thing's been going on a long, long time, if the Niners told him, hey,
we're not on the same page, and it doesn't look like we're ever getting on the same page. Is that them playing super hardball with him, or is that them trying to kind of tap him on the shoulder and be like, your time's here is over, and it's almost like our preference to move you on? I mean, there's lots of different ways that could be interpreted. We know from Aiyuk from TMZ being in the airport, he said, hey, I'd be a Niner first and then a Commander, then a Steeler. And he was asked about it by TMZ, and he's like, I definitely want to be a Niner and this and that. So he's trying to kind of, over here say I want to be a Niner, but over here I love Jaden Daniels and I'm dreaming about playing with him. And then what do you make of what he told us early in that podcast, that the Niners expressed that they weren't close and weren't probably going to get close?
Yeah, there's a lot to that, and I think there's a lot to unpack. So I think the Garofalo report kind of coincides with Pivot Podcast and what we've been hearing over the last couple of weeks. And then what Brandon Aiyuk said to us, I think, it's negotiation. And I think the Niners and Brandon Aiyuk opened up. He said, we've been trying since the offseason started, like ever since the season was done, they've been trying to get the contract done. But Brandon Aiyuk said he's been like stuck in his number. I think also his camp, his team are saying, this is what we need. This is the number, right?
And the number sounds like it may have changed. Like he said, we were close. I think now we're not close, right?
Yeah, I think the number has gone up. And he mentioned and he referenced players are setting the market. It resets the market. So that number is going to continue to climb. And I feel like the 49ers were like wanting a certain number. And even Ryan Clark was like, hey, they leaked your numbers. The numbers are out there. And Brandon Aiyuk's like, yeah, it's frustrating because we have a certain amount we want and now it's getting out in the public. So I feel like part of it is Aiyuk has been like set in a certain number space because of his team, his agent, his group. They're kind of continue to push the market because that's the market value. The 49ers, I think they've had it set to like, okay, here's the money we've set aside for Brandon Aiyuk, and it's a rigid number. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to pretend it's 27, just to say 27. 27 is 27, but the market goes up. Like it might have been 23 before, 24, 25. We got to 27, and now 28, 29, 30. So it keeps climbing, and Aiyuk's going to continue to change that. And I think he's going to continue to do that. He's like, hey, look, you guys aren't budging, but I'm going to continue to move it up because the market changes. So I feel like that's part of it. Also, I think the 49ers are trying to play his bluff. Like, oh, yeah, you want to go do this? You want to get traded? And I think part of them is saying, go. Like, are you really going to mean that? Because then part of it, like you said, he always circles back to, well, the 49ers are my first choice. Well, I love BA or I love Brock Purdy. So it's like he's playing both sides of the fences. And I also think that his team is kind of giving him bad advice. I think his team's like, no, you can't agree with the Niners. You got to stick to 30. So I think he's hearing it from both sides. He even mentioned it's his first contract negotiation. He loves the spotlight. He says
he's filming it. He's filming the whole thing. He's making a documentary.
He's making a documentary. So I think part of this is he's milking it because after all the contract gets done and is signed, wherever he goes, he's going to have a big video. It's going to be like Overtime or Sports Center. Somebody's going to play the whole video package, and he's going to make money off of it. So it's another way he gets money. He's going to get sponsors through it. So he's milking this, Larry. I think part of this is he is milking it. He's using it for clout. Social media has changed the game. So I think part of it is also, I don't think we're getting the full story. I think they are closer than we may know, but because of social media, oh yeah, he's got to drag it out. He's filming the damn thing, Larry. He's milking this whole situation. I don't blame him. I probably would too. This is a pretty cool experience. He's going to look back at it in 20 years and be like, man, look at this. I have a whole trail, a whole social media trail, a whole digital footprint on how this whole situation played out. Like, this is crazy. I told them that I wasn't going to be on the team, and then I signed with it. Like, you know what I mean? So in a way, he's a young man, and these guys love social media. They love to make these documents. And he says, I'm always on Sports Center every day, and I love the attention. You know what? Wide receivers, for the most part, typically, they're known as the divas. They're the alphas. They're the guys that like the spotlight. And Brandon Aiyuk is showing us he absolutely is loving the wide receiver spotlight. He loves it. I think they'll get the deal done.
Red Eye says Tom Pelissaro said the Niners ain't talking till after the July 4th holiday week.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe something gets done there. Yeah. But I'm going to share the screen here. I want to show you something. And this was a tweet from earlier today. Here we go. This is Debo. And you probably put this out as well, Raj.
Yeah. A lot of people
from Exos Sports, which is, I think, in Arizona, maybe. Let's hear.
Yeah,
here it is.
It's in Arizona. Yeah.
Here's Debo on what the? I mean, is this a treadmill? I mean, I got a treadmill in the garage, and it ain't look like this. This is like no, this is like some deluxe treadmill. So there's Debo right there. Okay, and we'll stop sharing that. But basically, just to show people what we were watching there, it was Alex Tran. He says 49ers Debo Samuel was on a mission. Nicholas Hill, who's a strength and speed coach at Exo Sports, told me Debo easily hit 21 miles per hour here. Last year around this time, Debo was at 18.6 miles per hour. And then the more I'm watching that, the more I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a second here. If the Niners give Aiyuk the big bag, they're tying themselves to Aiyuk long term, which is a good thing in my mind.
Yeah.
But you're kind of choosing with that selection that Debo's moving on with that contract. With Aiyuk signing the contract, it means that Debo's probably in his final year with the Niners. And I asked this question. I put this out on Twitter. What if the 49ers extend Aiyuk and Debo badly outproduces him this season? Are they still going to move on from Debo at the end of the year in that scenario? I said Debo looks hungry, focused, motivated, and determined to have a huge season. Maybe having a motivated Aiyuk on the fifth-year option of $14.1 million is the Niners' best move. Let them compete with each other to see who stays and who goes. Isn't that a win-win scenario? What do you think? I mean, Raj, we've been talking so much about this deal and getting the deal done. But Debo there looks motivated. What if Debo at times is light, sometimes he gets heavy and out of shape, but if he's in shape, he's as good as Aiyuk. Now I don't think he's going to age as well as Aiyuk because of the way his game is and all the contact that he absorbs. But you could make an argument that the Eagles game was as big a game as the Niners had in the regular season. And who was the Niners' best receiver that day? It was Debo.
Hat trick.
So, and Debo, who was the best? Debo's been big in big games. Debo and Aiyuk had similar numbers of touchdowns last year. Didn't Aiyuk have 7 and Debo have 6 or something like that?
He had a lot of touchdowns. He had, I don't remember, but he had multiple touchdown games. Like Debo put together some fantastic games last year. I'll tell you what, I think people
what do you
don't
think?
realize,
I mean, is it better? Is it better to, instead of locking up Aiyuk and forcing Debo out, maybe let Aiyuk play on the fifth-year option? And people are like, well, what's that going to do to the locker room? I mean, Aiyuk's going to be a little hacked off that you didn't take care of him, but it's a competitive endeavor anyway. So, I mean, so what's he going to do about it? If he wants to get paid, he can go out and play really, really well. And in some ways, you could argue that since the Niners are inside their Super Bowl window and they've already got Pearsall and Cowing on the roster as replacements, and it looks like they're going to have Debo and Aiyuk on the roster this year, wouldn't you almost, if I gave you the choice, you could either lock up Aiyuk, get rid of Debo at the end of the year, or let Aiyuk play on the fifth-year option at $14.1 million and evaluate the whole thing, Pearsall, Cowing, Debo, Aiyuk, at the end of the year. Couldn't you make an argument that letting them compete is maybe their best move?
It honestly is the smartest move. It'll probably be the most, most efficient way to get the most out of these guys because they're competing. They're not guaranteed. And, the 49ers have said, John Lynch has said, they're okay with allowing Brandon Aiyuk to play on the fifth-year option. They're okay. And you know why? Is because of what you just said, because money motivates. And he's going to be pissed out. He's going to be playing. But again, if he gets hurt, he's going to be pissed off. So it's more of a respect to give him that contract extension to say, hey, look, we guarantee the money. We love you. We want you here. But for them, in terms of maximizing the potential of these guys, Aiyuk, Debo, Cowing, and Pearsall, if they go out there and they all put their best foot forward, it's going to be a competition to make them hungry. And you know what? There's no love lost. You can't sit there and be mad in the locker room. You got to go out there and compete. And the thing with Debo, and I've been saying it all offseason, he has been so locked in. And like you saw in that video, and there was another, Saturday night, let me tell you, Saturday night, because I always get messages from their trainers and stuff. Hey, can you post this? Can you post? Because they come to me because they know if I post this, it'll blow up, whatever. So we do collab.
Look at you, dude.
So on Saturday night, you want to know what Debo Samuel was doing, Larry?
I do.
He was training. He was out there on the midnight soil.
Oh, I saw. I think I saw. I follow this guy named Raj from RSF 49ers, and he had put it out there. You're talking about on the field, right? He was outside running,
like running.
He's
doing like weights and like medicine, but he's throwing medicine ball. Like he's going crazy. Like he's training. It was like 10:30 at night. It's like he was training like it was 6 a.m. He's out there training. The morning and then I think in the morning he was doing like route running, and then after that training with his speed coach Nick Hill, he's going out there and he's training again with the guy that's training him on the route running, the Diamond Del Fonte. He's training with it. So he was out there for like 3 hours. He's posted on his story like, Jesus, 3 hours of workout at night. Saturday again, that's when he posts the treadmill things. Like the next day, he's still training. So Debo, no, he's not guaranteed money. He's like sitting there like, hey, if I have a great season, I'm going to get another big guaranteed contract because he's got another contract coming up, another extension. He knew it. That's why he did a 3-year contract there. So whether he's with the Niners or not, he's got to play. And if he plays great and they lock up Brandon Aiyuk this year and give him his extension, yeah, they'll probably trade Debo. And the better he plays, the more value the 49ers are going to get for him. So the 49ers want him to be great. Of course, we all want him to be good because it's good for a team. The 49ers are probably so excited seeing Debo going out there, train his ass off, because the better he does, and if they don't bring him back next year because they got Pearsall, they got Cowing, and they look like they're going to be good, they can replace him with Pearsall and Cowing and then get a great draft pick. They don't have to waste it on a wide receiver. They can go get a safety, cornerback. Like Debo is doing everything for this front office that they are dreaming of, and it's amazing. But yeah, this man has been training like a madman. And long story short, I think they're okay with allowing Brandon Aiyuk to just play on the 5th-year option because guess what? Pearsall, Cowing, Debo, Aiyuk, bring your best game. We're going to keep the best 2 of you next year.
I don't even think they're better off. I think their world's better off because then what happens if Aiyuk has this kind of like, I'm taking it to the next level. All right. If you are, we're there with you. If Debo has a bounce back year and just has some monster year, what if Aiyuk's just okay? Then the Niners, if they sign Aiyuk, they've got no flexibility. But if they just let him play on the 5th-year option, they maintain total flexibility. What if Cowing and Pearsall wind up being 2 of the greatest wide receivers the league's ever seen? Now, it's probably not going to happen. But let's say Cowing's awesome. Let's say Pearsall's amazing. Let's say these guys are just tremendous. Like to the point where you're like, Debo, Aiyuk, what do we even need those guys for? Right? Well, wouldn't you want the flexibility to be able to have total flexibility? To me, it almost, and then there's somebody else brought this up today. With the 49ers, a lot of talk about Pittsburgh, a lot of talk about Washington. And by the way, bacon and eggs, breakfast, croissants. Says, Larry, you're talking to a damn doctor. Respect his game. That's right. Raj has a doctorate. Dr. Raj. We will make sure we give Raj plenty of respect.
Appreciate
the man, do you have student loans?
Yeah.
You do. Okay.
I don't recommend getting a doctor. Honestly, get a trade profession after high school. You'll do much better in life.
Dr. Raj says, be an electrician.
Yeah.
I've got a note for all of you guys. Go be a plumber.
Yeah.
Get in the union. No, but I guess my point is, we don't know. We don't know what Pearsall is. I think Pearsall might be really, really good based on what I've seen in minicamp. And Cowing, I think, has potential to be really good too. Now, I don't know if they're Debo. I don't know if they're Aiyuk, right? Those guys are borderline star receivers. Aiyuk might be one of the 10 or 12 best receivers in football. Let's say Debo's top 20. Let's say Debo's top 20. I think they're both in the top 20. Yeah. So I mean, they're good receivers, but we don't know what Cowing is. We don't know what Pearsall is. And what if those guys aren't those guys? They're not stars, but they're damn good. And then you sit there and go, well, we got Purdy at $60 million. Maybe we can't afford Pearsall or Aiyuk. Maybe we can't afford Debo either. So I don't know. I mean, that trading Aiyuk or letting him play on the 5th-year option definitely seems viable. The other idea that somebody threw out this week was trade him to Denver for Surtain. And there's a lot of talk that Denver's having problems with Cortland Sutton. They said goodbye to Jerry Jeudy. Heck, I'll tell you right now, If I could get Marvin Mims Jr., who's a young receiver from Oklahoma, second-year receiver, if I could get Marvin Mims Jr. and Surtain, I'm doing it. I'm not even thinking twice. See Aiyuk, I'll drive you to SFO.
Are you gonna drive him?
Yeah. I'll drive him to SFO. I'm seriously. Yeah, I'll pick you up in the Tahoe and we'll take you to SFO, because I think now that they've got Cowing and Pearsall and you have Debo and you still got Chris Conley and Tay Martin and Ronnie Bell and Danny Gray and who's that?
Juwan Jennings.
Juwan Jennings. I mean, you got a bunch of guys. Danny Gray. I mean, Chris Conley, I thought played great in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl with the special teams plays. You got a bunch of receivers. You could make an argument that if you added a quick little receiver like Mims and you got Surtain, that you might be better than you would be if you just had Aiyuk. You give Surtain, you give the Niners a trio of Mooney Ward, Patrick Surtain, Demo Lenore. That's probably the best three corners going. If it's not the best three, it's damn close to it. And, after watching McDuffie and Snead kind of, just absolutely put the wraps on the Niner receivers in the Super Bowl, maybe the best route, if you're going to face Mahomes, is to have a dominant number one corner like Surtain. Maybe that's more important than, paying Aiyuk $30 million. I'm just saying, if I could get Marvin Mims and Patrick Surtain Jr. for Aiyuk, done. Wait a second. Done. See that? Just like the snap?
Done. I like the snap, Larry. I like the snap. That's not a bad take, honestly.
What do you think?
You give me Patrick Surtain. Like, I get it.
Surtain and Mims. You got to have another receiver. I wouldn't want Cortland Sutton because to me, he makes a lot of money anyway. I don't think you could get Sutton. Yeah. I don't think you could get Sutton and Surtain, but I think you could get Surtain and Mims. And if you got Surtain and Mims, now you got two receivers, or you got another receiver runs in the high 4.3s. So you get speed, you get a little bit more speed. You're cheaper, and you're getting a number one corner to put opposite Mooney.
At the end of the day, like, Mims is not going to be able to be better than Aiyuk. But at the end of the day, it's a run first offense. You still got Debo, you still got Kittle, you still got Jennings, you still got Pearsall, who you got, and he can develop a little bit faster because you'll probably have to take more targets. So, yeah, not a bad move. And then you solidify the secondary. This secondary, honestly, would probably be the best in the NFC if you go get Surtain, Mooney Ward, and Diamo Lenore is silly, Larry. So, yeah, if that was the case, I would make the move. But
I mean, not to mention where you're adding Renardo Green and Malik Mustafa. We both think those guys both can be players. So, I mean, you're right. I think if they added Surtain, they might have one of the best secondaries going. That might be the route. That might be that might be the play. And, the Niners in Denver, I don't know why, but it seems like Lynch has always made deals with Denver.
He loves it. That's his team.
He's definitely had dialogue with Denver in the past. Yeah. I don't know if that, now that George Payton is running the show there, I don't know. And Sean Payton, I don't know if they got the same connection as he had when maybe Elway was running it. But either way, I mean, you're sending him out of the NFC. You're sending him to an AFC team. You're sending him to a team that's, not close to the Super Bowl. So you don't got to worry about necessarily Denver winding up in the Super Bowl with Aiyuk and making you look bad. You'd be getting a young receiver back to add to your mix, and you're getting a number one corner. I'm telling you, if I could make that deal, I'm making that deal, and I'm getting off of this wide receiver, diva, train and kind of focusing this thing back on let's win the Super Bowl. Invader 49er says, let's say Cowing ends up being Taylor Gabriel and Pearsall ends up being Puka Nacua. I mean, we don't know what those guys are going to be. And what if if you just looked at last year's Niners and the distribution of targets and catches, the fourth wide receiver behind JJ was Ray. And, Ray he had like 19 targets. He caught like 15 balls, or 15 targets, and he caught like 12 balls. So that's Pearsall. If Pearsall steps in as wide receiver 4, he's not going to catch very many footballs, you would think. And Cowing as wide receiver 5 might catch less than a dozen balls all year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but you already have incredible depth at wide receiver. And if you could get a dominating number one corner like Surtain, I'm doing it. I'm absolutely doing it.
I mean, if that's the way it goes, if it gets to the point like an absolute point where there's no pleasing Brandon Aiyuk and they can't make it, I think that's a good route. Honestly, I wouldn't hate it.
What's your deadline? What's your deadline? For me, it's like the first preseason game. You either sign by the first preseason game. I'm not playing the Bosa game where we're going to take this 5 days until the opener. Fuck that. Not doing that. Not doing
honestly,
that.
I'm before you. I need it like day one of training camp. I need you to be serious with me. I need you to come into training because if you're not coming into training camp, Larry, you're gonna shit the bed. I'm sorry. These guys, they don't go to training camp, and just because they're training on the side, doing their thing. And Brandon Aiyuk's on a world tour. He's flying here. He's flying to Dallas. Like, I really don't think he's being serious with his training. Like, I know he can sit there and post stuff on crash the gates. We're going to Levi. Like, guess what, dude? You're doing a lot of theatrics. I don't think you're locked. Debo's at 10, 11 o'clock at night. His trainer's hitting me up. Debo's training right now. Brandon Aiyuk, what are you doing? He's on an airplane. Hit that like button, everybody. He's on an airplane to Dallas. He's making podcasts with Jalen Daniels on the background. He needs to get to training camp because these players, they hold out, Larry. And then their season where they get the money, they suck.
Steve-O just said Aiyuk just unfollowed Larry. I'm good with Aiyuk. I thought I was good with Aiyuk. I talked to him a lot during the year, and but you know what? He knows I'm nobody's fool. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm not I'm not sitting there just giving him the pat on the back. I'm just a little bit tougher grader than some of the other people in the media, and I do ask real questions, and I'm looking for real answers. But I've had good dialogue with Aiyuk in the past. But yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't like to hear what I would say, but I would say Surtain and Mims for Aiyuk, done. I'm doing it. And I'll tell you the other thing I didn't like, and I have no problem if Aiyuk were sitting right here, I would tell him to his face. I didn't like the disrespect for Brock Purdy. So other people would say, well, Krug, what do you mean? He didn't disrespect Brock Purdy. He said, he was asked the question, hey, if you're in the right situation at the right time with the right quarterback, he's like, whoa, I am in the right situation with the right quarterback at the right time. So in some ways, he backed Brock, right?
No, he did a little bit.
He did. But then he said, when they were asking him, hey, have you ever thought about what you would be if you were like the guy? And he's like, I can do more. I can produce more. And that was his comment. Shohei Ohtani just hit one to the freaking moon. Oh my God. Shohei Ohtani hit one into the last row of the right center field bleachers at Dodger Stadium against whoever this Diamondbacks pitcher is. He crushed that. I don't know. I've been watching games at Dodger Stadium for a long time. Yeah. I don't know that I've seen a guy hit one to the last row in left center. It was a high ball. The guy put it on a tee, and Ohtani just absolutely teed off on it.
Crushed it. Oh,
my God. Wow. That is a shot. I mean, we're talking 35 rows deep in the bleachers, maybe like the last row in right center. What a shot. Oh, my God, that thing was monster. Whew. Wow. Shohei Ohtani.
He's amazing.
4-3 Dodgers, by the way, on top of the Diamondbacks. Not that anybody cares about that, but wow. Shohei Ohtani just took some guy named Martinez to the moon. I have no idea who that
not
is.
Pedro Martinez. Not Pedro.
Not Pedro.
No.
Martinez for the Diamondbacks, whoever that is. I don't even know who that is. But anyway, huge home run. So I lost my train of thought there. What was I saying right before Shohei just went deep? I was talking about Aiyuk.
Yeah,
Aiyuk is not going to love, the fact that, I'm saying move off of Aiyuk. But the thing that pissed me off is I didn't like when he said about Purdy, he's like, well, I'm thinking right now about playing with Jaden Daniels, and I believe Jaden Daniels can take my game to the next level.
Yeah,
and that was incredibly arrogant. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So Jaden Daniels, a rookie from Arizona State, who's never played in a single NFL game, is already you're about to say that Daniels can take your game to the next level, and what Purdy can't. You can't get there with Purdy. I thought that was major disrespect.
I thought that was bad because I saw that clip. I watched the whole podcast and I saw that clip, and he was like, because they asked him some questions. What would like you said, what would you do if you had more da 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 da? And he goes, "There's a quarterback right there. Go throw it. He's a damn good quarterback. Go put him in. I can see
he can make all the throws."
And
that's
I was
what he
like,
said. He can make all the throws.
He can make all the throws. And I was like, hey, this guy hasn't even stepped down in the NFL. Like, I get it that you, but like, I get it, there, boys. Like, you're my boy, Larry. Like, if someone talks crap you, I'm gonna back you up. I'm like, yo, Larry's the guy. He's the I'm gonna go to war for you. But at the same time, I'm not gonna say you're the greatest person. Like, if it's your first day doing it, like, you haven't even stepped into the field, and this guy's saying you're the greatest quarterback in the league, right? Or not? He wasn't saying he's the greatest, but he's like among the best, and he can hit every pass. He hasn't hit every pass against NFL linemen coming down the barrel of the throat, taking him down. Like, that to me was a little silly. And then you got Jaden coming out the corner like, yeah, that's me. And I was like, I just didn't like the whole bringing JD5 to the interview. And again,
he's right there.
It's all for the cameras. You got to remember, it's all for they're milking this. You got the girlfriend vlogging it. This is all for the clout, for the Instagram fame. That's what I always tell myself. I said, you know what? This really isn't real life. It's Aiyuk is doing this for the camera, the theatrics. He's got a podcast. I really think he's kind of gaslighting us. I think he's putting all this out there for the show, the theatrics, and he's not really thinking himself. He probably thinks a different way, but his people, his show, his entourage. This is the portrait they're painting. And I feel like it's irritating.
Hey, Aiyuk, bro, you want to get real? Let's get real. Pump the fucking brakes. Yeah. Arizona State went 2-7 last year.
Woo!
2-7 in the conference. 3-9 overall. Yeah. 3-9 in the shitty Pac-12. And you're saying that this guy's your guy? Yeah. I mean, really? Really? So Jaden Daniels is your guy. And they went 3-9 and they won 2 games in the conference.
Wow.
I mean, are you serious? Are you kidding me? Now, granted, actually, he didn't play for ASU last year. He played for LSU.
No, he played for LSU. But
he played for LSU. I know. He played for LSU. And LSU lost. LSU barely beat Wisconsin in the bowl game. It wasn't like LSU was just the awesomest team that ever played. He had a good year for LSU. No, I know. He had a good year for LSU. LSU went 6-2. So, they were ranked, whatever they were ranked, in the top 15. He went 6-2 in the conference, 10-3 overall at LSU. So I shouldn't bang on him because he did have a good year. And he had a very good year statistically. He completed 72%, which is fat, 40 touchdowns, 4 picks.
But so it's not the NFL, Larry. It's
not the NFL. And you're playing with Brock Purdy, who was like 3rd or 4th in the MVP race.
The guy,
you know what I'm saying? It's like
he was him.
Bacon and eggs, breakfast, croissants is one thing you don't do around Larry is disrespect the GOAT, Brock Purdy.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Anyway, let's see. We got this one from Judge Shuddy. He says Larry's still pretending Aiyuk said he wants to play with Jaden. He didn't. He cut Ryan off. Let me stop you there. I'm in the right place with the right team, with the right quarterback now. He said he wants to be a Niner. Yeah, he did. And he said it's all about the terms. But still, he did say with Jaden Daniels, I think I can take my game. He said it. I'm not putting words in his mouth. This is what he said. He said, with Jaden Daniels, I think he can take my game to the next level with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
He said that. So
he did.
Call it whatever you want to call it. He did say that. The other thing about the podcast I thought was interesting, every single time there was an opportunity for Aiyuk to kind of be like pro coming back to the Niners or more cagey, like, hey, I want my money. He was like, I want more money. You want my money? Yeah. I want my money.
It's about the money. I think it is.
It is about the money.
Yeah.
Camp doesn't begin for a month. It sounds like they're at an impasse. He said it was frustrating, disrespectful, and unfair that the Niners leaked to Mike Silver that their offer was $26 million. But he said, I understand it. It's negotiating. It's a dirty game. So I understood that part of it. He admitted that his tweet of "Don't forget what got you here" was a response to the fact that he didn't get targeted enough in the Super Bowl in his mind. Thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
He was asked, would you give up everything that San Francisco represents? In other words, the great roster and Shanahan calling the plays and the Super Bowl appearances and to get the bigger money. And instead of saying, hey, man, I love San Francisco, he said, I got here by taking risks. In other words, I'm all about the money. And then I thought it was interesting when he said, he did back Purdy by saying that Purdy was the right quarterback and that it's all about the contract. But he also said that if they can't get it done with the Niners, he thinks that Daniels can take his game to the next level. He actually said that. He didn't. I'm not making that up. And then they asked him what Jaden Daniels does well. He says lead. He's a smart player. He can make all the throws. He admitted he's got a special connection to Daniels.
Bro, get a room. Get a room.
I know. Seriously, these guys are in love. And then he was asked, do you worry about, the Niners not being able to pay everybody? He's like, no, I'm about me. He says, if you can't afford a Lambo, you can't have one. Yeah. So he's not worried at all about who else gets paid. And when he was kind of asked about a hometown discount, he's like, we ain't doing a hometown discount. So there ain't going to be no hometown discount. Then he was asked, what's your number? And this was a Ryan Clark question. I thought this was a great question because Clark's trying to do what we're trying to do. He's trying to glean, where is this guy going? What's going to happen here? What's the end game? Clark says, I need to know what is your number one top priority. And instead of saying winning a Super Bowl, winning with my boys, he said, taking care of my family. So money is at the front of his mind. And then he said his second priority is putting himself in position to be the best wide receiver he can be. But that might mean he wants to play with Daniels. But he basically said his top priority is money over winning, over anything else. We asked this question. You and I debated it. Many content creators in the Niner community have debated this exact question. Does Aiyuk want a big bag, but he wants to be with the Niners? Or does he want the biggest bag, and he doesn't care if he's a Niner? And he said that he wanted the biggest bag, and he didn't care. He said, I want to take care of my family. His priority is getting the biggest bag, not just a big bag. He wants the biggest bag. So, I don't know. I mean, I love Aiyuk as a player. He creates space on offense. He is a tone setter. He blocks in the run game. He's tough as shit. But then we got to the end of the interview and the end of the pod. And they said, what will be the thing that you buy when you sign this contract? He's like, I got to take care of mom. And then he goes into how his mom is a diehard Niner fan. Yeah. So right then and there, I felt like the rest of this is a bunch of shit. All that really matters is, I mean, if mom is a lifelong Niner fan, are you really bolting for the difference in $500,000 or $1 million here? Really?
But he said mom would be on my side because she loves me.
He said mom would be. Well, I mean, that's obvious, right? Mom's. Yeah. Mom's going to choose the Niners over me.
Mom, baby boys. Yeah, she's going to take baby boys. But
mom's a bigger fan of Lynch than she is of me. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah. The thing that irked me the most, honestly, I could let all that slide, Larry. Whatever. I get it. Bag. People want to get paid. I want to get paid as much as I want. But the thing that killed me on that, when him saying that, you guys in the media asked him this after the shoot. Remember the big interview when they're at their locker room, the farewell day. It's a bittersweet day, especially this year. His last Super Bowl, and he's in there in the shades, and they asked him, "What's it going to take to become?" He goes, "What do you want?" He says, "I want championships. I want to chase championships." Like that's what his desire. They said, "What do you want in your next destination? Like for you to win a Super, for you to sign a contract? What does that mean? What does it mean?" And he says, "I want to win championships." He wants to win championships. So for him to say that several months ago in February, and now he's saying, "I want the bag," that's a big change in your story in a few months. So how did he go from "I want championships" to "I want the bag"? Like, so his priorities changed. So that's why I say I feel like maybe the people around him, maybe his circle, Larry, is not the best for him in terms of where he needs to be mentally. Because I think he's listening to other people. He's not listening to himself. He's not listening to his heart, Larry. Not listening to his heart, but
he's hanging with Eno Benjamin and Jaden Daniels. He's thinking about playing in DC.
Exactly, but also you got to remember, this is what I keep saying, Larry. I don't think a lot of this is it's not a lot. It's social media stuff. Again, he's recording this. He's making this as a documentary. You just got to take this stuff with a grain of salt. I'm trying to see.
I know.
I
You're
see a lot.
more savvy in this world than I am because this is your world. You are. We're both content creators, but I come from it from the radio side, and I do a lot of interviews. I do a lot of streams. I do a lot of videos. You're kind of more dialed in with the agent community. You've got people kind of using you to put stuff out there, not using you, but utilizing you.
They utilize my
you're a little bit, and you're a lot more not internet. I mean, I'm going to make myself sound like I'm 90 years old, but you're a little younger. You're a little bit more savvy as far as you see kind of the game. I get bored with the game and get tired with the game and start getting pissed. That's me. Kenny 49er says, damn, Larry, the language. Sorry, Kenny. Kenny, what can I say? Third string all pro says, I like this, Larry. Thank you. Ragnar says, Larry has been triggered.
We brought the heat out of Larry tonight. Don't tell him about the Warriors tonight. I'll tell you that.
Oh God. If I got to talk about slow-mo, I'm going to lose my shit.
No, they're going to sign. Well, as we're doing this, I saw a tweet from Shams. They're trying to get Buddy Hield.
Buddy Hield?
Yeah, Buddy Hield, Buddy Hield.
Hield, it's Hield. I like Buddy Hield.
He's good, but
I'll take Buddy Hield. I like Buddy Hield. He can shoot the ball.
He can shoot. He's a 40% three-point shooter.
He's a great shooter.
He's a good shooter. So that's actually not bad. But
I like Buddy Hield, but I can't stand slow-mo. Here, and I was going to bring this up to you as well. When your favorite team adds a player that you cannot stand watching, can you think of one in all the years? Because you're a big-time Niner guy, and you've been a big-time Niner guy forever. Is there a player that the Niners have ever added that you were like, he's not a bad player, I just don't like him, and I don't want to root for him. I don't want him on my team. I don't like the way his game looks. Like, I don't like Anderson, the guy they just got, Kyle Anderson. They call him slow-mo.
Yeah.
He's brutal. He's brutal to watch. I mean, this guy shoots the ball like some 50-year-old guy at the Y. I mean, he's like, and it's all deliberate, and it's like, he's all out front and everything. I mean, he is brutal to watch. And now I got to watch this guy for 82 games a year. Slow-mo, who sucks. I can't stand that.
Javon Kinlaw, I didn't want them to draft him that year. I don't hate him, but
that would be the guy that you would think of.
Yeah, off the top of my head, that's the first guy that comes to mind. Javon Kinlaw. I didn't want him. I wanted Defoe. That's why.
I'm trying to think who of the Niners had that I just really didn't like his game. It's hard. It's really hard in football because
it's not much.
It's not quite as personal in football. Like, I'll give you one guy. I hate to say it. He was a great interview, and I loved talking to him last year. I could not stand watching Logan Ryan.
Oh God.
He didn't want to get in front of anybody.
You know who
he
else?
Didn't want to hit anybody. He was a corner playing inside, and he didn't tackle.
He was old. He didn't want to.
He was old and small, and no, that was not a good one.
I'll give you another one. I'll give you one more. Dante Pettis. God, I hate that man.
Yes. Dante Pettis. The blue hair, the no speed, the getting muscled at the line of scrimmage. Yeah, it's like, dude, what would you say you do here? What would you say your strength is? Because it ain't strength, it ain't speed. You're not. It's like I'm looking at Dante Pettis. I'm thinking, well, he's not big, but he's not strong. He's not big and strong, but he's not fast. He's not big and strong and fast, but he also can't run routes. He's not big and strong and is not fast, but he also has shitty hands. It was like I was watching this guy and I was like, what does this guy do well? Is this Shanahan's nephew? I mean, what the hell's going on here? I mean, seriously, Dante Pettis that's a great one. That is a great one.
I'll never forget, Larry. I remember watching, I think it was Tracy Sandler. I love her content. She's great. Tracy Sandler interviewed him.
Fangirl Network, right? The great Tracy Sandler.
Yeah, the great Tracy Sandler. So she's doing an interview. It was like a pretty viral interview because I posted it and went big and da-da-da-da. And I remember that, and I'm sitting there watching it. It was like after his sophomore year, he slumped, and she goes, "What is your goal this year? Do you want to be the best receiver in the league? Like most wide receivers think, yeah, I want to be the man. I'm the guy. I want to be the alpha. Like that. If you ask 90% of wide receivers, Larry, they're going to say, yeah, I want to be the number one receiver in the league. I want to be the top guy. I want to be a wide receiver." And he goes, Yeah, I just want to be as good as I can be. I just want to, do really good and just improve from last year. And she said, so you don't want to be the best? He goes, no, it doesn't matter to be the best. This is how he talks. I
Who
don't.
said this?
This is Dante Petty. He goes, I don't need to be the best. I just want to be better, and a little bit better than last year. I'm like, bro, say you want to be the man. Like he had no like, he was
Yeah.
just like, he didn't have that dog in him, Larry. He had that cat in him. He didn't have that dog in him. He had that meow in him. That's what he did. He had that pussy cat in him.
He had that cat. He had that
He
cat
had
in
that
him.
cat.
Oh, that is so funny. NorCal Refrigeration and HVAC says Larry getting fired up. Someone call him someone get in the chat and call him a Shanny fanboy. Yeah, that will make me. Starks made me go off that one time, but my Kev said, "Hey, Dad, I know you love going off, and I do. I really do. I do. I do love every now and then just hitting the anger button. It's fun. It's fun." But he's right. I probably shouldn't do it as much, and I got to pick my spots.
Norman. Oh, someone
I got to
said
pick my
Josh
spots.
Norman.
All right, now
Someone in
Mitchell
the
and Ness
chat.
has got under my skin. All right, and I like Mitchell and Ness, and Mitchell and Ness goes way back. Mitchell and Ness, I'd love to know if you could tell us in the chat, when did you first join this Krug show? Because it was a long time ago. I mean, I might have had 2,000 subs. I mean, it was. I mean, we almost got 50,000 now. And Mitchell and Ness was there for a long time. And he says, Larry and y'all dragging. First of all, can we get Raj more than a y'all? I mean, Raj, this man is a doctor. This is a man with a doctorate.
He's saying everybody in the chat.
I know.
Yeah,
but
come on, man. We ain't.
I'm playing with it. Mitchell and Ness. Y'all, don't call him y'all. He's a doctor, Mitchell. No, anyway, Larry and y'all dragging BA's name through the mud. But when he signs the long-term deal, you all be jocking him when he's making plays. Bunch of simps.
He better be making plays.
Mitchell and Ness, there's a nuance to this. Nobody's saying they hate Aiyuk or that Aiyuk's a puss or that Aiyuk is. We're not saying anything bad about Aiyuk. We're just saying that it's gotten to the point where, do you want to be here? Do you not want to be here?
Yeah.
And I don't care about what's best for Brandon. I care about what's best for the Niners. I'm not worried about Brandon's portfolio and how he's going to take care of his family. I don't give a shit about that. I care about the Niners. So I don't care about Aiyuk and his contract and does he maximize. I don't care. I really don't. I don't begrudge him. That's the other thing. There's a lot of people in the fan community that think that people in the media, like somehow we begrudge these guys what they make. Dude, nothing could be further from the truth. I can only speak for myself, but I feel like I can speak for all media people when I say we don't care what these guys make. I'm not jealous of what Aiyuk makes or what Debo makes or what Kinlaw makes. I don't care. I mean, it's so non-relatable. I mean, I'm doing fine myself with what I'm making. If I made no money at all and maybe I'd be bitter, but I'm not bitter. I don't care what these guys make. More power to them. I hope Aiyuk makes a mint. My full caring about what anybody makes is always just in relation to the Niners cap, what it means to their cap, who else they can afford, what it means to their competitive, ability to compete for a Super Bowl. I really don't care. And as far as we're all dragging BA's name, I'm just saying I wouldn't pay him the $30 million. But if the Niners decide to pay him the $30 million and he's a great receiver, what do you want me to do? All next year as he's making catches, be like, he ain't worth it. He's not worth. No, why would I do that? I'm just giving you my opinion since he's made this a front and center issue in the Niner world, and we can't seem to get off of this, and it's like the story that won't go away. I'm just giving you, Mitchell and Ness, and the audience my honest, unfiltered, and real opinions about the player, the contract, what I think the options. I love Aiyuk. I'd love that. I'd much if they traded Aiyuk for some, for a lesser player, I would drag them through the mud for dealing Aiyuk. I'm a big fan of Aiyuk, but I'm not his dad, and I'm not his brother, and I'm not his cousin. I'm not related to him, and I don't owe him shit. So I'm going to tell you what I honestly think about his game, pros and cons, about his contract, pros and cons, about the Niners' decision to sign him, pros and cons. And just because I said, saying that you would trade him like that for Marvin Mims Jr. and Patrick Surtain, if that's dragging him, then I guess I'm dragging. But I don't look at that as dragging. I look at Marvin Mims Jr. as damn good. Surtain's one of the 5 or 6 best corners in the sport. All I'm saying is don't allow this thing to go on and on and on. And now that you got Pearsall and you got Cowing, do you even really need another receiver? I can make a much more compelling argument that they need Surtain more than they need Aiyuk. I mean, you might play Ambry Thomas against a really good receiver in the playoffs next year. Or you could have Mooney and Surtain and Lenore.
I hope Ambry Thomas is not playing big minutes in the playoffs, Larry.
I know, but it's good. It could happen. You run out of corners, So anyway, come on, Mitchell and Ness. I'm dragging BA's name. Well, he's the one who hasn't signed the contract. We're just talking about the pros and cons of signing him versus trading him and trying to figure out what the Niners' real options are. And I'm not saying he's not an
assessment.
And as you're sitting there saying I'm dragging him, you're talking to a guy who faces up every single guy on the team every week. So before you get into this, you're saying this and you're not. 99% of all 49er content creators speak with total conviction and never face up any of these guys even one goddamn time. That's the truth. Who's actually facing him up? Me, Grant, Lombardi. Who else? Haberman, Barrows. That's about it. Cam, there's a few writers. But as far as people that do this on YouTube, how many of us who actually give opinions on the Niners actually go into the locker room, show their face, and walk right up to guys, and if they want to MF me to my face, I'm right there. I've had guys tell me, hey, man, I didn't dig what you said the other day. Awesome. Great. Let's talk it over. I've had other guys say, hey, man, you're a real one. You watch film. You're in here face to face. You ain't dodging. You ain't diving. You ain't hiding out. You're not a sniper from the tower. You're in here face to face. Exactly. So, don't make me sound like I'm some guy who's shooting down from the tower, never gets on their level, never faces them up, never gives them a chance to rebut me or say whatever they want. I'm face to face, man, every single week with Shanahan, the players, the coaches. And if you follow this channel and you follow my content, I pull no punches. I asked Shanahan, Chase Young's dogging it. It wasn't Mayoko that asked that question. It wasn't Barrows who said, hey, by the way, Kevin Givens and Chase Young were dogging it in the NFC title game. Is that your culture? That's this dog right here. I'm the one who asked him that. So I hear what you're saying, but we don't drag anybody and hide out. Raj has got relationships with Kittle, Lynch, many Niners. He's very out there. He shows up at camp all the time. You guys know me. I'm in that locker room every single week, facing up every single guy. I went up to Ray McLeod after he fumbled in the Dallas playoff game, and we did an entire interview on what it felt like to fumble in that situation and what he was going through his mind in real time between that point where he fumbled and his next touch in the game, which came like 30 or 40 minutes later in real time. Dude, I got Ray to basically own it and, basically say, hey, man, I blew it and kind of take us behind the curtain and tell us what he was thinking as he was going to touch the ball the next time on special teams. So, if you want to be critical, but don't make it sound like we're not facing these guys up, because there's a shit ton of people who do exactly what you're saying, and I ain't one of them. There's a ton of people that sit there and rip, never to step forward, shoulder to shoulder, chest to chest, nose to nose with these players and give them a chance to answer back. I went up to Javon Kinlaw. We talked for 10 times last year. face to face. You know, I mean, come on. Rip me all you want, but don't say that I don't face guys up or that I'm going to be like over here. I'm ripping Aiyuk, and over here I love Aiyuk. I'm a Niner fan. If the Niners sign him to a big money deal and he starts, as you say, making great plays, I won't be jockeying him. Thank you. But I'm also not going to be ripping him. I'm not on a mission to make sure the Niners don't sign him. I'm just want to bring up, since we're all Niner fans in this forum, that maybe the best move is to let him play out the 5th-year option and see what these receivers all look like in a year. Maybe the best move is to send him to an AFC team like a Denver for a number 1 corner like Surtain, or send him to Washington, but maybe get Jonathan Allen and then get another defensive line. All I'm saying is you can pay him, you can make him play on the 5th-year option, or you can trade him. Those are the 3 options. And all I'm saying is let's have a little discussion here about what the best options are. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I think honestly, to finish that, to elaborate it, because Larry kept it 100, dropped the mic. Larry got that dog in him. Let's keep it. You're not.
I'm sitting in 97 fucking degrees right now. Hell, if I'm pulling punches.
You're not Dante Pettis. You got that dog in you, not the cat. That's what's real. That's real talk. And honestly,
I got that dog in me.
You got that dog in you. You got a.
But it's kind of a golden retriever with kind of a wuss attitude. But I got that dog in me.
Tonight you got a Doberman in you. You a Rottweiler. You a Rottweiler tonight. I don't know what it is. You need to change the underdog fantasy dog to a Rottweiler, because tonight you're fierce. Honestly,
seriously, I mean, I got a dog. He's wearing a freaking scarf.
I know.
Scott, I mean, come on, underdog.
You need to get some fuming smoke.
Show me some teeth.
Yeah, honestly, Larry, no. But real quick, you're making an honest assessment. This is you. Yeah. People want where we have a topic. You give honest assessment. Yeah, at the end of the day, I love Aiyuk. If he makes plays, I'm gonna be hyped up for him as a fan. But right now, it's a weird situation, and I think he's milking it for clout. But hey, I love BA. If he signs the contract, absolutely, we're all going to be like, all right, we got our boy back. We know he's made big plays for the team. You know, he's made in the Detroit game, that was the biggest catch of the year. Honestly, he's made big plays, but it's contract negotiation, and it's a weird time for these players. Bosa did the same thing. Debo did the same thing. Warner did the same thing. Kittle did the same thing, and it's annoying as a fan.
All I'll say, and I don't, come on. I'm I mean, there's lots of people that have lots of comments on here. And it's all great, but just, I don't mind being called out. I really don't. But, and there's times, call me out. If I ask a softball question, then call me out. Or if you don't think I'm doing a good enough job, covering this team, then tell me what you think I ought to be doing. And I'd honestly listen to you. I really would. Because I do care about the chat. I do care about the people who watch our content, and I'm trying to bring you guys good content. I'm not in there to make it friends, but I'm not in there to make enemies. You know what I'm saying? Rich Deco says, "Why is Larry's AC broken?" No, it's the studio is in. I didn't buy an AC unit because it's normally pretty mild. So my studio is in my garage. My garage is not insulated. It's 90 degrees in Walnut Creek right now. So my garage is I'm in downtown Qatar. You know what I mean? I'm outside the Burj Khalifa in what city has the Burj? Dubai. I'm
Dubai.
Hanging in Dubai. I
might as well India. Bro's in Delhi. You're in Delhi. You're literally, this is how it would be. You would not survive in India.
I'm in New Delhi right now. I'm in New Delhi right now.
India to see my family, you wouldn't survive, man. I'm sorry.
I'm in freaking Bombay right now.
Yeah, you're in Bombay, bro. You're not gonna survive.
Ragnar says Larry's cutting weight for swimsuit season. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm down here. That's all I need to do is I need to get a Copenhagen. Just I'm trying to cut weight. Oh my God. Yeah. Kenny 49. It's Africa hot. Yes. It's hot. I'm sweating. Oh, it is what it is. Says you lost 5 pounds already. Gilbert Rivera says, Raj, I can barely hear you. Is there a way you can turn your,
I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Maybe your volume might be a tad low. Maybe I'm,
maybe it was my AirPods.
maybe I'm blowing out Raj.
Pause.
Here we go. Rich Tico. The heat is like truth serum to Larry.
Yeah.
I'm so hot. This team sucks. Could you?
The fuses are short circuiting, Larry.
Oh, wait a second. Somebody says, "Hey, it looks like a sauna." It is a sauna.
Yeah.
Yes,
hot,
the colors in the background do make it look. Grant told me, he's like, "Yeah, man, your studio looks like a sauna." I said, "Really?" He's like, "No, but it looks good, man. It looks good." I'm like, thanks, bro. The coach has got a pretty nice setup too now with the neon coach, and I don't know if you've seen his setup. It's pretty fat. Okay. Wait, Kenny says I'm like the Snyder cut or Snyder cat. What's the Snyder cat or Snyder cut? I don't know. Here we go. Niner says, Larry, you're a pit bull. All right, I'll take it. Did I ever tell you the story about how my neighbor got a pit bull?
No.
So I bought this house. My kids are old now, right? Now I got a 23-year-old daughter, 24, just turned 24 yesterday.
Wow.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
She's going to med school. She's studying to be a nurse practitioner. She goes to Emory in Atlanta.
Love it.
So very smart little cookie. Love her to death. Then Kev, of course, is my oldest son, right? He just finished Cal Poly. He's going to help me work on my channel this year, but he's a construction management major. Then my third boy, Benjamin, is going to DVC this year because he's not sure exactly what he wants to do. So he's going to go 2-year and then figure it out. Good move for him. And my youngest guy is a freshman at Northgate, and he wants to play everything. He wants to play basketball, football, baseball. He's the youngest, so he's played it all.
4 kids. You were busy, my boy.
Seriously, 4 kids. So moved into this place 25 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. My neighbor, we have a front patio, we have a back patio, but we don't have a front yard. We don't have a backyard. Well, my neighbor gets a pit bull, and the pit bull starts sprinting at me when I'm walking home one day, and it's just nipping at my legs, and it's his son's pit bull and this and that. And I said to the guy, I'm like, hey, bro, I'm like, you don't even have a front yard. You're going to have this dog running around with no leash. I'm like, come on, man. I'm going, you can't, I got little kids here. And he's like, this dog's no different than any other dog. I'm like, all right, well, I just said to him, I said, hey, look, no problem. Do whatever you want. But if your dog bites my kid, I'm going to own my house and I'm going to own your house. So, and I pointed to my house. I'm like, see that house? I go, I own that house. I pointed to his house. I'm like, see your house? If your dog bites my kid, I'm going to own that house too. And he gave me this look like, oh, you're going to take my house from me? 5 days later, he's got a boxer.
Oh,
he traded out his pit bull for a boxer, which is also kind of a physical dog, but it's not
like
it's not quite as unpredictable. And I understand before you get on here, it's not the dog, it's the owner. Okay, just save it. Yeah. If you type in vicious dog attacks, pit bull is like the first breed that comes up always. And this guy had no yard. He never had a dog. He didn't know how to care for the dog. I knew it, and I just said, hey, dude, come on, man. How about either have that thing on a leash, maybe keep that thing behind the closed doors, or just don't, I don't want to see that dog bite my kid, or I'm going to be in your grill. Boxer. 5 days later, boxer. Now, that was 2000. We have not spoken since.
Whoa.
And we're neighbors.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wow.
It's like, seriously, dude, it's like we're like 2 ships that pass in the night. I give him the evil eye. He gives me the evil eye. We do not talk. We have not talked for 25 years.
Is the boxer still alive? Do you know?
No, the boxer didn't make it. The boxer only lasted a few months, and then the boxer died, I think, unfortunately.
Oh, wow. Rest in peace. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Anyway. Somebody here, MF says, was Larry like Gabe Kapler when Danny Emmerman questioned him? Don't get me going on Gabe Kapler. Oh, my God. Rob says, leash is the law. Yeah, I mean, I love dogs. I mean, I really do. If I had more land, I'd get more. Did you have a dog?
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I've had one before. I've had one before, but I don't have one now.
Yeah, I mean, it ties you down. You can't go. And I love Penny. She's a great dog. It's been great to have her. But I don't know. When Penny's only 7, But when Penny's done, I don't know. I think I might be done unless I get more land. If I get more land, then I would go get a dog. All right, let's hit some supers here. We got over 1,000 people hanging. We got this one, bacon and eggs breakfast croissant. Aiyuk is gone, and I'm not going to miss him. All right. Be careful. Mitchell and Ness is coming for you. Invader 49er says, I'd prefer he plays on the 5th-year option. There you go. Bacon and eggs is back. He says, Kevin meet a French girl yet? I hope not, because Kev went to France with his girlfriend.
With his girl. So, that would be bad.
That would be bad. That would be bad.
Kev, I hope he didn't.
He did send me a picture today. He ate escargot.
Oh, he's still
he
out
had
there?
Snails. I said, what was it like? He said it was garlic and buttery and kind of the same consistency as oysters.
Yeah, that's.
Do you like oysters?
Yeah, I love oysters. That's a true
amazing.
statement on escargot. I've had it. That's true. Yeah, he made it. That's good. Yeah,
he said buttery, kind of garlicky, very tasty, but kind of had the consistency of an oyster. And he said he liked it, but he didn't love it.
I wouldn't have it again. It was a good experience. I wouldn't have it again.
So exotic food wise, are you an exotic food eater?
I love food, so I'll try everything. Sometimes I'll do it.
Did you go to New Orleans for the Harbaugh Bowl?
I've been to New Orleans, but not for the Harbaugh Bowl. But I've been to New Orleans.
So I went for the Harbaugh Bowl. Damon Bruce and I went out to dinner, and the waitress comes by and she's like, "You got to get the fried alligator appetizer."
Ooh.
So I'm like, all right, what the hell? We're going to be drinking. I mean, I'm probably going to barf in a bag anyway. It's New Orleans. I'm going to be drinking endlessly. Why not? Why not? Bring me the fried alligator. So we had the fried alligator. I'm telling you, it was like kind of a little bit more gamey version of chicken nuggets.
Yeah, it's like chicken's chew. Yeah.
That's chicken nuggets. Yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit overpriced. But rich, like a really good, flavorful chicken nugget. That's what I got out of fried alligator.
Yeah.
So I'm not the most exotic food eater, but I did like the fried alligator. I thought it was pretty good.
Fried alligator is good. So my dad, when he was alive, he used to love my mom would make him like special food. Like he liked like exotic foods, right? Delicacies. And there was always I'll tell you what, we had brain, like cow brain.
Sweetbreads. You ever have sweetbreads?
Yeah, we had sweetbreads. We had cow brain,
which is what is sweetbreads again?
What is it? It's
like cow balls or something like that.
It's like I don't know if it's necessarily the balls, but it's like the groinal area. Yeah. So, but he liked all the weird tongue.
Tongue.
I used
to
open up my freezer and they were like brain.
Can't go tongue. Can't go liver. Have you ever had liver?
I've had liver. My mom used to make that frog leg. I just remember opening the freezer and there was like a brain. I'm like, Mom, what happened? What happened? Whose brain is this? And she's like, oh, I'm making that for Dad tonight. I was like, he used to eat that kind of. It was weird stuff. It was
Look at Ragnar. Stuff. Ragnar, you're a bad man. He says Rocky Mountain. Oh no, wait a second. No, he said, where's Ragnar? Rocky Mountain oysters. Thank you, Ragnar. Yeah. Thank you. Here we go. We got this one. Third string all pro. Sweetbreads are the thymus gland in the throat area of cattle.
Wow.
It's amazing how much cattle knowledge Third String All Pro had in the chat. Bogus says D's nuts. MF says, is Larry a sparkling water guy? If so, which kind? No, I hate sparkling water. Can't stand it. Seriously, my wife gets those Pellegrinos and what are those sodas that it's like the worst tasting thing of all time with like a little twist of grapefruit. I mean,
we get them,
water
people bring them into work. I was like so thirsty, because it's hot, and I was like, they were like, oh, here, have it. And I was like, oh, I didn't quench my thirst. I needed some water.
It's awful. I mean, I'm much more of a bottled water guy than a sparkling water guy.
Same.
I mean, I went to a restaurant the other day, and somebody's like, regular water or sparkling water? I'm like, oh, regular water. I can't go sparkling water. It's not in me. It's not in me. Okay. Let's hit some of these supers. Let's hit some of these other ones here. Okay. Kevin, we got distracted with Kevin meet a French girl.
We saw that one. Yeah.
Look at that. Daz says, I think BA was talking more about how the 49ers use him more than a dig at BP. Yeah,
Okay.
no, I got it, but
Yeah.
it's more
Well,
fun
you
for me
did
to.
reference the tweet. I think like you said, yeah,
We
that
kind of
that
covered it.
that
We
right
kind of
there was
covered it.
pretty interesting. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that's
What's
good.
that? Say that again.
The,
What
the
are you
tweet
saying?
that you referenced where he says that it was kind of more of how he didn't feel like he was utilized enough in the Super Bowl. So yeah,
Right.
I think he was taking a shot at the team, saying you guys don't respect me.
But he didn't go as far as to rip Shanahan, and he didn't go as far as to rip Purdy. And you know that he likes playing with Purdy because Purdy's. I mean, why wouldn't you like playing with Purdy? He puts it on the goddamn hands.
Yeah,
he's just constantly playing. He's played pretty damn good football almost all the entire time he's been here. 49er _ throwback. He says, "Congrats to CMC and Olivia. Kyle looked hot."
Did you see it?
All right, what do you think of Kyle's mustache?
I love it. He looked like a mafioso boss. He looked like I gave him a little bit more personality. I hope he keeps the stash through the year.
No, it's got to be an off-season stash.
I need him to run.
We're not going to win any games with that stash.
They'll go undefeated with the stash. That stash is the key to winning a Super Bowl, Larry. That might be the hidden. Look, Andy Reid has a damn mustache, the walrus stash. Kyle Shanahan has a mob boss stash. I loved it.
I'm going to Jed, and I'm saying, Jed, if he doesn't get rid of the stash, fire him.
I love it. No, they're not winning. They're not losing a game if he has that stash, Larry.
It was too tight. It was
so good.
It was like from here to here. It was like a mustache. It just went like just right there. I mean, I'm not saying he's got to have the Raleigh fingers handlebar, the curly key, but I mean, I don't know. I thought it was.
Kyle actually had some personality for once. I loved it.
There you go. Couldn't stand the stash. Ricky Williams says, "How many wide receivers you taking before BA?" Just curious. That's a good one. I would probably say. Well, let's go through it.
Justin Jefferson.
Well, there's the no doubters. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill. Those three for sure. And then it's kind of beauty in the eye of the beholder to some degree.
AJ Brown, are you taking him?
AJ Brown, no. I like Aiyuk a little bit more than AJ Brown.
CeeDee Lamb.
No, I like Aiyuk better than CeeDee Lamb. There's a lot of talk the Cowboys may trade CeeDee Lamb, or he may ask for a trade.
He said
he wants CeeDee Lamb's got good ball skills, but Aiyuk's bigger, stronger, way more physical as a run blocker. I like him more than CeeDee Lamb. I'm trying to think, who do I like more than Aiyuk receiver-wise? Who would I trade Aiyuk straight up for? Let me see. Tyreek for sure. I'll tell you a guy that I think's better than Aiyuk, and a lot of people now he hasn't done more than Aiyuk, but I do think he's a bigger talent. I think the Jets kid,
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Garrett Wilson's a monster, man. Yeah. I love Garrett Wilson. So I would say Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson. I like Garrett Wilson. That might be it. I mean, I like Devontae Adams, but I still would take Aiyuk.
Yeah, he's younger. What about Marvin Harrison? Marvin Harrison Jr.
No. I like Aiyuk better. Okay. Now I do like Puka. Puka's pretty unbelievable, but I think Aiyuk's probably a better all-around receiver than Puka.
Okay. A lot of people think Ricky Pearsall could be the next Puka, so we might have Puka on our team.
I mean, I kind of like that kid, the second receiver in Minnesota who lit us up at the end of the first half.
Oh God, yeah.
Jordan Addison,
yeah.
I like Amon-Ra. I think Amon-Ra is right there. He's right there with Aiyuk. There's no doubt they're the same. As far as I'm concerned, they're the same.
So maybe Brandon Aiyuk is right. He should get paid Amon-Ra money.
I would say, I mean, I have no problem paying him Amon-Ra money, but I would say Aiyuk sits between 5 and 10. He's not a top 5 receiver, but he's definitely a top 10 receiver.
He's not lower than 10. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a good.
Would you say?
Statement. I think
we'd have to look at the list, but I would say he's probably 6, 7, somewhere in there.
I think 7 is fair assessment. 8.
Yeah. NorCal refrigeration. Larry getting fired up. Someone call him a Shanny fanboy. Okay, I get that one before. Dazza says TJ Hushmanzada, one of my favorite commercials. The guy's he's like TJ Hushmanzilli championship. Did you see that when it was for fantasy? He said BA wants Amon-Ra's deal.
Yeah,
I got no
that's what
problem
he
with
said.
that. I got no problem giving him what was Amon-Ra's deal? 76 million guaranteed, like 48 or 50 million fully guaranteed. Didn't he
Yeah,
get
50,
like
50.
didn't he get like 28.5, something like that per year?
28.5? Yeah, I think it
Does that
was.
sound right?
I think it sounds right.
AAV of 28.5, something like that.
Let me see.
I think
I'm on St. Brown. He got a 4-year contract for 120 million. 120 over 4.
so. What is that? 4 into 120.
30 million per year.
So we got 30.
30. 77 million in guarantees.
Yeah, I think that's
30
basically
million.
his neighborhood.
30
I think
million.
that's
But you said
basically his
earlier you
neighborhood.
don't want 30. You don't think you'd give him 30 mil. So
Well, I'm just saying it's basically his neighborhood. I mean, I personally, if you said the more I've thought about it, the more I think let him play on the 5th-year option and let's see where it goes. I like the idea of flexibility, and I also don't. Here's the thing: if you pay the quarterback too much, that's okay. Why? Because supply and demand. There's only so much. The supply is less than the demand. But with receivers, the demand is probably there's tremendous supply. There's going to be a bunch of great receivers.
There's going to be a bunch of great receivers. Yeah. Now the only downfall, I think this is the biggest downfall. If they're going to let him play on the 5th-year option, which again, John Lynch has said he's okay if they play through the 5th-year option, whatever.
Yeah, why not?
So this is the downfall, Larry, because this year his price is probably 30 million. If he has another season like he did last year, if he has a BA type season like he did last year, he ain't getting paid 30 million. It's probably 32, 33. The number goes up because next year the market goes up. So you definitely aren't bringing him back.
Well, I don't know. The market goes up when the best receivers sign. So is there going to be somebody better than Jefferson? No.
No, but there's going to be a lot of good
we know where the ceiling is. But you're saying it's going to be closer to 35.
I think it'll be closer to 35 next year.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. And the salary cap goes up every year. So I think the biggest thing is the Niners, if they can't lock him up this year, they're not going to have BA. But again, that's why they went and got 2 receivers in the draft to make sure they insurance policies and stuff. And then what we talked about earlier, if Debo reinvents himself, it's like, whoa, just re-sign him. It's another big deal. So, or they trade him.
I mean, that's the thing. What if Debo's monster this year? Maybe you want to sign him. Who knows? I mean, I don't think it's logical that he's not going to age well, but you don't know. We don't know that. I mean, it's all guesswork. We don't know. Gold Tao says season of the bag. Kyle killed championship hopes. What?
If we win a championship, I don't care what they do after the season. I really don't.
Championship. Okay, a couple of last ones and then we'll jet.
Yeah.
One that I thought was interesting is, and I wanted to throw this to you. Oh yeah. So I read an article the other day. Great article. It was in the Arizona paper or Arizona website. And they were talking about the different players who maybe are going to get cut at the cut down this year. And they're throwing out a bunch of different guys who potentially could be out there at the cut down for the 49ers to potentially sign. And like a couple of them were like Isaiah Foskey from the Saints, Darrell Taylor from the Seahawks. There were some defensive ends there. And, I'm looking at Robert Beal and Drake Jackson, and I'm a little concerned about how good those guys are going to be. But they had Darrell Taylor, Isaiah Foskey, Joseph Asai from Cincinnati, and John Kaminsky. So there's 4 defensive ends that they think might get cut. I'll tell you right now, man, if the Saints are going to cut Isaiah Foskey or the Seahawks are going to cut Darrell Taylor, if I'm the Niners, I'm knocking on that door offering a day 3 pick to get those guys. I think the Niners, a guy like Foskey went to Notre Dame, who I just think he's getting caught up in a numbers game in New Orleans. They just signed Chase Young. They've got Granderson. They've got a bunch of defensive ends. Obviously, the former Cal Bears there. So they got a bunch of defensive ends. If you can get Isaiah Foskey or Joseph Asai or Darrell Taylor at the cut down, man, I'm doing that. I'm not even thinking twice about that. The other 2 names that were kind of interesting, there was some speculation today from somebody. Who was it, Raj, that said that the Niners should go after Justin Simmons?
It was Albert Breer.
Breer.
Said it. Yeah.
Yeah, Breer is saying they ought to go after Isaiah Simmons, or not Isaiah Simmons, but What I say, Brandon Simmons?
Justin Simmons.
Justin Simmons.
Yeah.
Who was a good player at Boston College, and he's a good cover guy. And that's why he's a good free safety possibility for a team like the Niners that wants to play the cover 3 and play a lot of zone and have that. You need to have that safety that can play the deep middle. How confident are you that Mustafa or Hufanga or Brown can, effectively play free safety in this defense? In some ways, these guys seem like they're all maybe better closer to the line of scrimmage, and a guy like Justin Simmons might fit. But there was 2 other names that they're saying may get cut this summer. One's Lewis Seen from Minnesota, who's deep buried on their depth chart. He was a first-round pick 2 years ago. And the other's Richie Grant from Atlanta, who's also a good football player. Played at, I think, Central Florida. Really liked him in college, and he's been good in the pros. If I could get Lewis Seen or Richie Grant at the cut down, or maybe for a day 3 pick, I'm interested. And if I couldn't, Justin Simmons would be like, if you gave me an option of adding a couple guys to the roster to try to help the Niners get over the top, I think I would look at 3 positions: safety, defensive end, and maybe a better number 2 quarterback, just in case Brock went down for 6 weeks. What do you think, though? You like Simmons? You like Seen? You like Richie Grant? How do you feel about their safeties? Who is there right now? Who in your mind? Who's the starting free safety for the Niners?
We don't know. And we talked about this last week, Larry. I feel like a lot of this hinges on the health of Talanoa Hufanga. I really don't know. Honestly, I hope he's going to be ready to rock and roll, but will he be? I don't know. And Malik Mustafa, he looks promising, but he's a rookie. You can't put too much pressure on him coming in. Jair Brown looks like he's going to take a leap, but they're all like box safeties. So you're right. They don't really have the free safety. I would love Justin Simmons. Richie Grant would be my number 2 out of those guys. If they could get Simmons, I know it's been rumored a couple months ago. Even Mike Silver said something about it. They've been looking for safeties. And, today, one of the options I thought maybe they were going to bring back, I don't think it's likely. He's Deshaun Gibson, suspended 6 games, league substance abuse policy, PEDs, whatever. So even if the 49ers did want him, he's going to miss 6 games. So that's
Tayshaun Gibson. Tayshaun Gibson, for those who don't know, according to the reports of the day today, he faces a 6-game suspension, and it won't start until week 1. So he can get signed. He can go to camp. He can play in the preseason. But as soon as week 1 starts, he's out for 6 weeks of this season. He's eligible to sign and participate in all the preseason activities, including preseason games. But the suspension takes effect when they cut the roster down to 53. He obviously violated a league policy on performance enhancing substances. I don't think the Niners he turns 34 in August. He spent 2 seasons with the Niners. He was a good locker room leader, but I don't think he's a good enough cover guy.
No,
I think they need a better cover guy.
But I think he was just like an insurance spot, just in case. I think he was a guy that they said, okay, maybe we could bring back just for shits and giggles, just to keep us having an insurance policy. But now, throw that insurance policy out the window. They need to make sure they can get a safety for the first couple of weeks if Talanoa Hufanga is not there. And again, if Hufanga's coverage skills are lacking because of the injury, they're going to be screwed. So Justin Simmons, to me, is the guy that I hope they take a flyer on. Maybe. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. But you never know. When it's cut down day, teams get a little desperate. They cut players that you're like, whoa, I can't believe it. So there's going to be some players on the waiver wire coming up in a couple of months. Keep an eye on them. But safety, to me, definitely, we've talked about this so much, Larry. They definitely need to continue to bolster that department because, I don't know, I feel like the depth of that safety position is a little murky, and it all hinges on Talanoa Hufanga.
No doubt. All right, let's finish with ESPN had a good article today, and I made a video on it. It was Mike Clay, and he basically did projections for every NFL team, including the Niners. And he had 10 questions that he threw out. And it's like I agree with a couple, I disagree with a couple. So let's roll through them quickly here. Number 1, his first point is Brock Purdy. In his mind, he says Brock Purdy will take a step back, at least statistically. I don't see that at all. I see Brock Purdy after a full off season where he's bigger, stronger, faster, more knowledgeable. He's had reps with his receivers. I think Brock Purdy hits the ground running. I think, last year he threw for 4,280 yards, 31 touchdowns, 11 picks. I think his numbers go up this year. I think he throws for 4,000 yards. I think he eclipses 30 touchdowns, and I think he's under 10 picks. So I'm saying like 4,000 yards, maybe 32 touchdowns, 8 picks, something like that. And there he's saying Mike Kleiss is 3,899 yards, 24 touchdowns, 11 picks. He thinks he's going to backslide a little bit statistically. I don't see that at all. I don't know. I don't even know why anybody would predict that. Why would you? So he's going to be worse this year with a deeper group of weapons, both, at running back, at wide receiver, a deeper offensive line. I think maybe a better upgraded defense and a full off season of work. And Purdy's going to be worse. He's going to take a step back statistically. That sounds like a hater to me. That doesn't sound like anything that's based in any kind of reasonable logic. So I'll disagree with that. Where are you on that one?
Yeah, I agree, man. Make it make sense, Larry. People want to hate Brock. People want to bring him
really
down.
do.
People, they think last season was a mirage, but guess what? Last season he was coming off of UCL surgery. This season he's not. Full year, fully healthy, full off season. Got more weapons on this team. He's got another year in the system. He understands it more. The game's going to slow down a little bit for him. He's going crazy. Brock Purdy for MVP, baby. I don't know. I don't. So
you agree? You agree with me on that one. Number 2, Christian McCaffrey will have another big season. He says, will he top his 2023 season? Not according to Clay, but he's going to come close. He's going to rush for 1,243 yards, 12 touchdowns, 67 catches for 527 yards and 4 touchdowns. Those numbers are pretty close to what he had last year when he won the Offensive Player of the Year award. I think McCaffrey, I agree with him. I think McCaffrey is primed for another big year.
Monster. Yeah, the guy's having the best year of his life. He was Offensive Player of the Year. He's on Madden. He got a pay increase, $38 million, and he just married former Miss Universe supermodel Olivia Culpo. He's living the life, and he's going to get better. And you know what? The offense runs through Christian McCaffrey. His stats are going to be fantastic.
Did you wish Christian McCaffrey congratulations or any happy wishes from Raj and RSF 49ers to McCaffrey?
We did. We made the post. I wished them. I said congrats to him and Olivia Culpo. I congrats them on the post. I shared it on the story. I posted it on Twitter. I'm happy for Christian McCaffrey. He married a supermodel, Larry. So yes, I said congrats. He's having the hell of a year, man.
There you go.
Congrats to CMC and Olivia Culpo, man.
Stay hot, CMC. Stay hot. Stay hot.
That wedding, I don't know if you saw the content. It looked gorgeous. Fucking fantastic.
I mean, the bride and the groom?
Yeah, their wedding content, if you've seen it. Her dress was amazing. He looked great. He's a handsome
Where was
guy.
it? Where did they get married? Rhode Island or someplace?
Rhode Island. Yeah, Rhode Island.
All right.
Yeah,
whatever.
Look good.
Okay, point number 3. Brandon Aiyuk and Debo Samuel will be about the same this year statistically. I think there's actually a pretty good chance. A pretty good chance of this. He's got Aiyuk having a little bit of a down year compared to last year. He thinks he's going to have more like 1,000 yards instead of 1,300 yards. He thinks Debo is going to have the same production. And he thinks their numbers are going to be very comparable. I kind of see that coming. I think Debo's putting in the work. I think Debo is going to have a good year. And I think Aiyuk's going to have a good year, but not quite as good as last year. I think their numbers are very similar.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, like I said earlier, anytime you get that big contract, you kind of downgrade. You have a little bit of a down year. I think he'd still have 1,000 yards. I don't know if he'll reach 1,300 like he did last year, but I feel like there's going to be a little regression. And it's not a bad thing. I think he'll still have a good year. But again, it's a lot of pressure. When you sign that big money, it's like the pressure gets to you. I think he'll still be good. Debo's on a mission. And you know what? Debo was very effective last year. They forgot that people always are living on that 2021. Oh, he's not as good as 2021. He's pretty damn good last year. I'll tell you what, Debo missed a few games here and there because of the injuries and his gameplay, but he had some, like I said, a lot of multiple touchdown games. There were games where I was like, wow, if we didn't have Debo, we don't win this game.
Niner Dad 21 says, "What's up, Larry? Long time since catching a live. Always watch the videos, though." By the way, today, one of the followers of the show said that he wanted me to announce his fantasy draft in Southern California, and is wanting to fly me to Southern California, pay me to attend his draft party, announce their draft picks one after another, and then fly me back all in one day.
You should do it. I'll sign me up. I'll do it too.
What do you want for that, Raj? What if I gave him an amount, but what would you want? If I said, Raj, I'm going to fly you to Southern Cal, and you're gonna do an event for fantasy football, and then you're gonna dine there and eat and then whatever. They'll drive you back to and from the airport, and then fly you back. What do you want for that?
You put me on the spot. At least like $1,200. At least.
You wanted what? 1,200?
At least like $1,200. At least.
Wow.
Yeah.
I said 500.
Okay.
I said 500.
I'm a little greedy. Maybe 1,000.
Somebody Invader says 5,000.
Yeah, 1,000. I was 1,000, 1,200, something like that.
ROB says 2,500.
At least 1,000. Yeah. See, 500. That's nothing.
Bacon and eggs. Do it, Larry. There might be strippers and blow. Great.
Oh, no.
Thank you. It's a family show. It's a family show. Damn
I want
it.
At least 1,000.
All right. God, look at that. Maybe I should have asked for more. Okay. Ricky Pearsall, number 4, is going to outperform Juwan Jennings. I think that's totally going to happen. I would bet on that right now. I'd bet that Ricky Pearsall has more catches, more yards, and more touchdowns than Juwan. What do you think?
But I agree with that because he's going to be a guy that, they're going to develop to try to be a big part of this offense. And people forget, like, Juwan Jennings isn't always the first option. He's always like a later, he's a good fundamental piece. He's a good role player.
He's a good playoff player.
He's a good playoff player. This is the thing about Juwan Jennings. His plays might be more important than Pearsall. He might have some like clutch plays when it like crunch time. But I think overall,
he's a money player.
In the body of work, like stats, but stats don't tell the whole story. I think statistically, I think Pearsall will have more catches, more yards and stuff, more targets. But in the grand scheme of things, I think Jennings might have more like clutch plays, clutch moments, because that's the type of player they know. It's a clutch moment. You're looking at Jennings. Brock Purdy knows where he's going to be. Like, he knows, okay, if I crunch time, it's third down, I'm going to Jennings. He doesn't have that with Pearsall. Maybe they'll develop that, but if it's 3rd and 7 and Brock Purdy's looking for a big target, he's going to Jennings. He's not looking at Pearsall. Maybe not.
Jennings caught 19 balls. How many balls is Pearsall going to catch?
I get it. He'll probably catch at least 30 this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be between 30 and 40. I agree. Okay. How about this one? He says Jacob Cowing will not make an impact as a rookie. I say, wrong. This guy is going to make an impact. He's very polished. He separates vertically down the field. Brock loves to throw the ball down the field. He loves receivers that get separation. He's already built a trust in practice with Cowing. I say this is dead wrong. I think Cowing does make an impact as a rookie.
I agree with him. I don't see him making a huge impact. You got so many damn receivers, Larry.
Okay.
It's a run first offense. At some point, you're not going to be giving the ball to the 5th option. You got, again, Debo. If he's supposed to have the season like you're saying, and Aiyuk and Jennings and Pearsall, you got CMC who gets a lot of receptions, and then Kittle. Where the hell does Cowing? Like,
it's logical, but I expect injuries. I'm kind of projecting injuries.
Yeah, I do too. But even with that, I feel like Cowing's value this year in his rookie season is going to be in the return game. I think he'll be utilized return game. I don't see him having much impact in the receiving game. I think he has a bright future for this team. But I agree with him. I don't think he's going to have a huge impact in terms of receiving. I think he'll have some moments here and there, and you're like, oh, you can see the flashes. But there's a lot of receivers. There's a lot of mouths to feed on this team. I don't think Debo is losing targets to Jacob Cowing.
It's getting super hot, so I'm going to have to get out of here. But Isaac Correndo or Ronnie Bell will be the leading kickoff and punt returners.
Isaac.
You think so? You think? I mean, if not, I mean, I could see Pearsall. I could see, I don't know who's going to be the return man. I mean, there's a bunch of options, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I could see Cody Schrader being a good kickoff return guy.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, but I don't think Schrader. I think they're going to put somebody that, like, I like Pearsall, but again, if he's going to be utilized in the offense, like we're saying, 30 catches, you don't want him to get hurt on these kickoffs. So I think it's going to be someone like Cowing or Garendo. Like, that's how I see it playing out. They're going to get somebody that's good, but it's not going to affect them on the main offensive roster.
He says Bosa's going to wind up with only 10 sacks. He had 10.5 last year. He had 18.5 the year before that. I think he's got 13. I'm going to say 13 sacks for Bosa.
At the very least, 15.
Okay. Number 8, Dre Greenlaw will be healthy at some point, I guess, but I don't think it's going to be until December.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. At least November, December, yeah.
Number 9, Ambry Thomas will play corner ahead of the younger corners, in front of Renardo Green, in front of Darrell Luter, in front of Sam Womack, in front of these guys. Is Ambry? Clay's got Ambry playing 534 snaps. I don't see that at all. I think Ambry. I like Ambry, and I think Ambry's a better player than other people do. But at some of these young corners, Luter and Womack, Renardo, even Yadam, I think these guys are going to make sure that number for Ambry is much lower.
You're going to give me a pair of scissors. Cutting that man. He's not
cutting him. Okay. I mean,
that's no.
And then number 10, he says the Niners are going to get to 12 wins and win the most games of any team. I like that. I'll go with 12 wins. I had him at 11, but I also had him losing to the Bears. So 12 wins, I think, is possible.
Yeah, I got him at 11 or 12. I think 12, 11, somewhere around there. So I'll take it. I love it. Need it.
What do you got cooking the rest of the week? I mean, we got the 4th of July, and you got anything cooking on the channel? I mean, you lay low between now and camp?
I mean, I tried to do as much as I can, but I just been so busy with work. So I'm be working. I'll be cooking on myself, working, but also got a new job cooking up soon. So
do you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, physical therapy, but I'm gonna take my home health consulting agent. So I have a home health company. I used to be a consultant, also did home health. I can't say too much because my boss might be watching because I haven't told you. Right. But they've offered me this remote managerial position. So I'm going to be a rehab manager for the home health company. And then I could probably do more content because I'll be home doing remote work. So I'm kind of excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah, good for you. Niner fans win. If Raj is at home doing more Niner content, then we win. MF says, I heard Larry on Sirius XM a few weeks back. Yeah, I was on with my good buddy JT the Brick. I used to host a show on Sirius XM called Overtime. It was a late night show. It was a brutal schedule. It was 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. All right, that is going to do it for us. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle, the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they will match you up to your first $100. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. Check them out in Pacific Grove, California. And for Raj, I'm Larry. Have a great night, everybody. I'll be streaming tomorrow morning at 8:45 with Damon Bruce, at 10:45 with Cyrus Satsis on the Warriors. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. we'll move our Thursday night show with Dieter to Wednesday night. And we're going to have a big Wednesday before we take Thursday off for the 4th of July. So join us in the morning. For Raj, I'm Larry. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of.